Settler opened fire with an automatic rifle in a crowded mosque in the West Bank town of Hebron. At least 40 Palestinians were killed, scores more wounded.
The killer, an American-born Jew, Baruch Goldstein, was himself a part-time soldier, although he worked primarily as a doctor at a nearby Jewish settlement.
He was always there for anybody that was sick. Okay, he refused to treat Arabs.
Palestinian fury as the victims of the mosque massacre are rushed to hospital in Hebron. Just minutes earlier, these people had been praying, celebrating the Arab fast of Ramadan. They were mercilessly gunned down by an Israeli settler. Doctors say most were shot in the back as they knelt to pray.
What he did was something which is a loyal act of heroism on behalf of the Jewish people.
Do you consider Dr. Goldstein a martyr, a hero?
Yes. Yes.
You consider him a hero?
I most certainly do.
I was proud to know him, and I think he's one of the finest people I'd ever met.
Even after what he's done?
Even after.
There's no question about it, he was a great man. There's no question about it.
This was desperation for a man who was a moral man for every instant of his life.
They deserved it, and they got what they deserved.
The most upsetting part of this whole thing isn't that the Arabs were killed. It was that Dr. Baruch Goldstein was killed.
I wish I had the guts to do it too.
As night fell and they walked towards the cemetery, a woman shouted,
Baruch the
Baruch HaTzedek. It was spoken with a thick American accent, and it meant Baruch, the saint.
It is important for the Israelis to shift attention somewhere else and make the world forget what Goldstein did. Immediately after the Goldstein attack, the Israeli Secret Service clandestinely planted a bomb in a Catholic church in Lebanon, hoping to kill hundreds of Catholic worshippers, a bombing which would then be blamed on the Arabs, and in this way shift media focus onto the Arabs. Arab attacks and 50-year-old Holocaust tales from World War II are what the Israelis seek to keep constantly in the news any way they can.
What was also familiar was his political outlook. He was very critical of the peace process. His hero and good friend was the late Rabbi Meir Kahane.
Today, after the attack, Israeli militants hailed him as a hero, the son of Meir Kahane, calling him a Samson of his time.
Many Jews celebrate Samson, who was the original suicide bomber. And they celebrate Baruch Goldstein as well, knowing that he shot people in the back while they were praying. They celebrated his mass murder then, and are still doing so to this day. After Baruch Goldstein murdered 29 people and wounded over 100 others, Chabad Rabbi Yitzhak Ginsburg wrote his most infamous work, a pamphlet titled Baruch HaGiver, or Blessed is the Heroic Man, that investigates the spiritual and moral virtues of Goldstein's massacre. The title, perhaps not incidentally, also involved Goldstein's own name, suggesting that he was the heroic man. The life of Israel is more important than the life of Goyim, Ginsburg wrote there. If there is a chance, even a slight one, that the Goy will work, even indiscreetly, to harm the life of Israel, then you don't care for the life of the Goy. Moreover, the best Goy is a dead one. The Hebrew version of the Talmud states that the best of Gentiles should be killed. This is confirmed by the Jewish Virtual Library. For over 20 years, Ginsburg's schools have been financed by the Israeli government to the tune of over 1 million shekels. Published financial records show he was receiving hundreds of thousands of shekels a year. Baruch Goldstein actually visited Rabbi Dov Lior for instruction. After he massacred dozens of people, the rabbi ruled that Goldstein was holier than all the martyrs of the Holocaust. It doesn't stop there. Menachem Livni, who was convicted of murders, headed a terror organization dubbed the Jewish Underground. He testified that the spirit behind the Underground was Lior, and not just for his preaching and religious rulings regarding the need to murder Arabs or killing innocent people. Lior, according to the testimony of the murderer, was involved in the details and decided how and when they would act. Lior pressured the hesitant perpetrators to blow up 6 buses with all their passengers. The buses were loaded with explosives with the object of killing hundreds. Only the delay enabled the Shin Bet security service to arrest them at the last minute. The order came down. Lior was not to be arrested, tried, or even seriously interrogated. He was also being financed by the Israeli government, receiving tens of thousands of shekels every month. His job was to combine Torah studies with military service. Lior has also said that Jewish law permits the destruction of Gaza. Take crushing, deterring steps to exterminate the enemy. Samuel 15:18. And the Lord sent you on a mission and said, go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they are exterminated. In the Torah, there is a group of people called Amalek who have to be genocided. Problem is, you have rabbis labeling the Palestinians Amalek, and even going far as calling for Palestinians to be put in death camps.
ברמב"ם כתוב שאיך יודעים מי המשיח? אם הוא יהיה מלך והוא יכבוש את כל ארץ ישראל, יקים את בית המקדש ויחריט את זרעו של עמלק. זה שלושת המרכיבים.
For their Messiah to arrive, they need to conquer the land of Israel, which is Palestine, rebuild the temple in Jerusalem, and genocide their enemies, which is clearly what they are trying to do.
Here with 150,000 lunatics in the Jewish settlements. Those are not ordinary Jews. Those people are there looking at us as Palestinians as subhumans. They think that God is directing them to kill us, and their aim is open. They hate us, they're racist, and they're lunatics, and they are protected by the army.
100,000 lunatics?
100,000 people who believe that Palestinians must be driven out.
Israeli lawmaker Moshe Feiglin openly called for ethnic cleansing, calling for civilians to be put in concentration camps. He said Gazans should be given generous incentives to relocate after all fighters and their supporters killed. No two states for two people. There was only one state for one nation. Chabad Rabbi Manis Friedman was asked, how should Jews treat their Arab neighbors? He said, destroy their holy sites, kill men, women, children, and cattle. He justified his statements by bringing up the Old Testament.
There is such a concept in Jewish law as any population, and under very, very specific circumstances, according to various rabbinic opinions, it would be seemingly permissible to kill children.